Did you know that this iconic structure, now a symbol of romance and beauty, was once considered an eyesore? Or that it could have been dismantled and lost forever after just 20 years? Imagine this: the Eiffel Tower, standing at a staggering 1,063 feet, was the tallest man-made structure in the world until 1930. That's almost as tall as an 81-story building. Every year, it draws millions of visitors, more than some countries. Yet this iron giant was built with no computers, no modern machinery, just sheer human ingenuity, and over 2.5 million rivets. In this series, we're going to explore the fascinating chapters of the Eiffel Tower's life. From its controversial beginnings to becoming the beloved icon of Paris, each chapter is a story of challenges, innovations, and a testament to the human spirit. Ready to embark on the Eiffel Tower's journey? Stick with us until the end of the video. We've got a ton of surprising twists in store that you won't want to miss. Chapter 1: The Dream of Iron. Welcome to the City of Light, Paris in the 1880s, a place where art thrives and the smokestacks of industry rise high. Here, amidst the clatter of innovation, a man named Gustave Eiffel dreamt of something grand, something that would stand the test of time. Eiffel wasn't just any dreamer, he was a visionary engineer who had already dazzled the world with his feats. Think of the metallic skeleton inside the Statue of Liberty. That's Eiffel's handiwork. Now imagine the World's Fair, the Exposition Universelle, fast approaching in 1889. It was to be the centenary celebration of the French Revolution. France wanted to showcase their progress and artistry, and what better way than to host a world fair? The centerpiece? It had to be something groundbreaking, and Eiffel had just the idea: a tower made entirely of iron soaring to the skies. The public, however, wasn't immediately on board. A metal asparagus, some called it, others a gigantic black smokestack. Critics penned letters, artists protested. This tower, they said, would be an eyesore amidst the city's elegant architecture. But Eiffel stood firm, believing in the beauty of iron and the strength it symbolized. The challenges didn't stop with public opinion. The tower's engineering needed to be flawless. Paris is known for its firm yet marshy ground thanks to the Seine River. To support a structure that aimed to be the world's tallest at the time, Eiffel's team had to sink foundations deeper than any before, down to the solid bedrock 30 meters below the surface. But Eiffel was a man ahead of his time. He championed a unique method of construction, using over 18,000 individual iron parts joined together by 2.5 million rivets. Imagine that, each rivet hammered by hand. The parts were all prefabricated in Eiffel's factory on the outskirts of Paris, each measured with the utmost precision. There was no room for error. A misfit by even a couple of millimeters would halt the entire project. And let's not forget the workers, about 300 of them, climbing to dizzying heights with none of today's safety harnesses, braving the elements to bring this colossal dream to life. They toiled for 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days, and not a single life was lost during construction, a remarkable feat for its time. When it was all said and done, the Eiffel Tower stood tall at 300 meters, nearly 1,000 feet. It was a marvel, a steel giant towering over the cityscape, visible from miles around. At the time of its completion, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world, a title it held for 41 years until New York City's Chrysler Building rose in 1930. The Eiffel Tower was a masterpiece of the industrial age, a testament to the beauty of science and ingenuity. And though it was originally planned as a temporary installation to stand for just 20 years, it became clear that Paris had erected something timeless. It was the 1889 Exposition Universelle's star, and it has since become nothing less than an international icon. This is how the Eiffel Tower began, amidst skepticism and challenge, yet pushing through to alter the Paris skyline forever. It's not just a structure, it's a landmark of human achievement, and its story is as captivating as the city that surrounds it. Chapter 2: Against the Odds. As the Eiffel Tower began to rise, so did the voices of its critics. Many Parisians shook their heads, doubting the very idea of a tower made of iron, questioning its safety and scoffing at its strange design. But Gustave Eiffel had a response to every question, a solution to every problem. His confidence in the project was unshakable. The tower faced engineering puzzles that seemed nearly impossible at the time. For one, it had to withstand the mighty gusts of the Parisian wind. Eiffel and his team, undeterred, carried out meticulous wind tunnel experiments, a practice quite revolutionary at the time. They discovered that a structure with open latticework would offer less resistance to the wind. a principle now fundamental in modern skyscraper design. But the ingenuity didn't stop there. The tower's legs, curving elegantly as they met the ground, weren't just a stylistic choice. This shape distributed the weight so efficiently that even on a foundation relatively small for such a tall structure, the tower stood firm. Remember, the Eiffel Tower was the first structure of its kind to rise above the 300-meter mark. Constructing the tower was like assembling an enormous jigsaw puzzle. Each of the 18,000 pieces was crafted off-site with such precision that when they arrived in Paris, they fit together flawlessly. It was a logistical dance, one that had to be choreographed perfectly to prevent the massive project from descending into chaos. The workers on site were like artists, each one playing a part in Eiffel's grand design. They used no heavy machinery. This was the 1880s, after all. Everything depended on muscle, sweat, and sheer determination. Yet despite these demanding conditions, the work progressed at an astonishing pace. In fact, the tower went up so quickly that Parisians would see a visible difference in height every few days. When the tower was completed, it was twice as tall as the dome of the majestic St. Peter's in Rome and even surpassed the Great Pyramid of Giza, holding the title of the tallest man-made structure on Earth. It took 7,300 tons of iron, which, if melted down, would only fill up the square base of the tower to a depth of merely 6 centimeters, a tidbit that illustrates the efficiency of Eiffel's design. The sheer number of rivets used, 2.5 million, is hard to picture. If you were to lay them out in a line, they would stretch for over 60 kilometers. That's longer than the entire Paris Metro Line 1, the city's busiest subway line. Despite the early criticism, the Eiffel Tower stood tall and proud at the Exposition Universelle, its latticed body glistening in the sun. The 1889 World's Fair attracted millions, and the tower was the centerpiece, a beacon of progress and human achievement. It proudly showcased the might of industry and the elegance of design in harmony, a structure no longer questioned but celebrated. So as the tower reached completion, a structure once mocked as a folly was now hailed as a marvel. It was the triumph of engineering and vision over doubt and skepticism, proving that sometimes the most ambitious dreams can become the most enduring realities. The Eiffel Tower was more than a structure. It was a bold declaration to the world that the future was being forged in iron and ingenuity right there on the banks of the Seine. As we transition from the engineering marvels to the iconic status of the Eiffel Tower in Chapter 3, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories like this one. Chapter 3, Rise of the Iron Lady. The Eiffel Tower was now more than just a dream of steel and rivets. It was a tangible giant presiding over Paris with grace and strength. Its completion marked a new era not just for Paris, but for the whole world looking on. Now let's talk about how this Iron Lady became the heartthrob of the city. At first glance, it was the sheer size of the tower that took your breath away. It was so tall that on a clear day you could see nearly 42 miles from the top. That's like standing on the rooftop of a building in downtown Paris and spotting Disneyland in the distance. For the first time, people could see their city from a bird's-eye view, and it was nothing short of magical. The tower's elevators were another marvel. They climbed at angles aligned with the tower's legs, something that had never been done before. These lifts weren't just practical. They were a ride into the future. By 1889, elevators were still a new luxury, and here they were, gliding up the tallest structure in the world. As the visitors ascended, they experienced something extraordinary. The city below shrank, the sky opened up, and for a moment they were part of the clouds. Once at the top, they stood 1,063 feet above ground, a dizzying height at the time. The Eiffel Tower also became an unexpected scientific hub. Gustave Eiffel installed a meteorological station, antennas for telegraphy, and even a wind tunnel where he would later conduct his aerodynamic experiments. It wasn't just art, it was a canvas for innovation. This Iron Lady was not just a marvel of engineering, she was a bold statement of aesthetics. Her lattices and curves were a poem written in iron. Nighttime brought a new kind of wonder as thousands of gas lamps illuminated her frame, a spectacle of light that transformed the tower into a beacon of brilliance. But the Eiffel Tower wasn't just admired for its height or its beauty, it became a symbol of resilience. Only a few decades earlier, France had been through the tumult of the Franco-Prussian War and the Commune of Paris. The tower rose as a phoenix from the ashes of conflict, a sign that France was standing tall, proud, and undeterred. Its construction had also set a new standard for workplace safety. With the use of safety nets and other precautions, not a single life was lost during the tower's construction, a fact that remains astounding given the era's lack of modern safety equipment. In its early years, the tower served a practical purpose too. It was a towering observation post for the military during World War I, proving crucial for communication. But that's a story for another time. The Eiffel Tower's story is not just about metal and might. It's about how a structure can capture the imagination, how it can embody the spirit of a city and the aspirations of a nation. And as the 19th century gave way to the 20th, the Eiffel Tower stood as a beacon, not just in Paris, but in the world, signaling the dawn of a new age of possibility. By now, the tower was no mere attraction. It was Paris itself, a landmark that defined the city's skyline, captured the hearts of the Parisians, and enchanted everyone who laid eyes on it. What was once a tower that many loved to hate had become a tower that the world came to love. Chapter 4, From Controversy to Icon. By the turn of the 20th century, the Eiffel Tower had embedded itself in the heart of Parisian culture and beyond. No longer just a technological marvel, it became a beacon of progress and an emblem of human potential. Let's delve into how this iron edifice continued to shape the modern world. As the new century dawned, the Eiffel Tower stood as a symbol of the industrial age, when people believed there was a technological solution to every challenge. It was this spirit that kept the tower relevant, transforming it from a temporary exhibit into a permanent fixture. Imagine the Eiffel Tower like a grand old tree, its roots digging deep into Parisian life. Its influence was so strong that it even changed the landscape of advertising. In 1925, a car company hung a giant illuminated sign on it, the tower's name spelled out in 30-foot letters. It was perhaps the first instance of such grand-scale advertising, setting a trend for years to come. As radio technology emerged, the tower found yet another role. Its peak, the highest point in Paris, became the perfect spot for antennas. By the 1950s, nearly every Parisian household could tune into programs broadcast from the Eiffel Tower, knitting the city together through waves of communication. But it wasn't all business and broadcasting. The Eiffel Tower, with its panoramic views of Paris, became the backdrop for countless marriage proposals. Love, quite literally, was in the air, and the tower became a witness to thousands of life's tender moments. During World War II, the tower faced a new challenge. It was said that when Hitler visited Paris, the French cut the lift cables so that if he wanted to reach the top, he would have to climb over 1,500 steps. The Führer never made the climb. The tower stood defiant, a silent sentinel during the occupation of Paris. In the post-war era, the Eiffel Tower continued to inspire. It was a muse for artists, poets, and filmmakers who saw in its iron lattice the embodiment of modern art and the romantic spirit of Paris. The tower was not static. It evolved with the times. In the 1980s, an old radio transmitter was replaced with a new television antenna, adding another 20 feet to its height. The Eiffel Tower wasn't just a monument to the past, it was a living, changing structure. By the end of the 20th century, the tower had welcomed over 200 million visitors. It had become more than just the centerpiece of the Parisian landscape. It was a global icon, recognized around the world as a symbol of France. Its presence on the world stage was solidified when the year 2000 approached. The tower played a key role in the Millennium celebrations, covered in sparkling lights that danced into the new century. It was a message of hope and continuity, a reminder that the spirit of the Eiffel Tower and the city it stands in would endure. Now, every evening, the tower sparkles for 5 minutes every hour on the hour, a light show that captivates all who see it. It's as if the tower is winking at the city, sharing a nightly secret with its inhabitants. The Eiffel Tower's journey from the World's Fair to the digital age is a testament to its timeless allure. It stands not just as a monument to what we have achieved, but as a promise of what we can imagine. It's the story of how a tower, once the subject of controversy and skepticism, became the heart of a city and the pride of a nation. Chapter 5, A Global Inspiration. The Eiffel Tower, standing tall in the heart of Paris, isn't just a French treasure, it's a global icon, inspiring architects and dreamers worldwide. In this chapter, we explore how this iron marvel sparked a wave of creativity across the globe. From the moment it graced the Paris skyline, the Eiffel Tower became a symbol of human achievement. It inspired architects to think bigger, reach higher. Its influence can be seen in structures around the world, from the Tokyo Tower in Japan to the Blackpool Tower in England. Each one carries a piece of the Eiffel Tower's spirit, its ambition to reach for the skies. But it's not just towering structures that drew inspiration from the Eiffel Tower. Its lattice design, its graceful yet strong lines, influenced styles and motifs in everything from art to fashion. The tower showed that functional structures could also be beautiful. One of the most charming impacts of the Eiffel Tower is the number of replicas it inspired. Across the globe, from Las Vegas to Shenzhen, smaller versions of the tower sprang up. These replicas are more than just tourist attractions. They're homages to a design that captured the world's imagination. Let's talk numbers for a second. The Eiffel Tower attracts nearly 7 million visitors each year, making it one of the most visited paid monuments in the world. It's not just a monument, it's a magnet for people from all walks of life. What's fascinating is how the tower remains relevant in the modern world. In the age of the internet and social media, it's one of the most photographed landmarks on the planet. Scroll through Instagram or Pinterest, and you're bound to see its iron frame pop up in travel and fashion posts. Even in the realm of science and education, the Eiffel Tower serves as a teaching tool. Engineers and architects study its design and construction techniques, learning lessons about wind resistance, weight distribution, and material efficiency. In popular culture, the Eiffel Tower is omnipresent. It's featured in countless movies, songs, and books, often as a symbol of romance and adventure. It's a star, not just in Paris, but on screens and pages across the world. The tower's global influence extends even to space science. Did you know that a piece of the Eiffel Tower was sent to Mars aboard the Mars Science Laboratory? It's a fitting tribute, as the tower itself was once seen as a leap into the future. The Eiffel Tower's impact is also evident in educational initiatives. Many universities and institutions use it as a case study in engineering and design courses, influencing new generations of creators and thinkers. What's truly inspiring is how the Eiffel Tower transcends cultural and language barriers. It's a universal symbol of innovation and beauty, appreciated by people from every corner of the world, regardless of their background. Its story is taught in schools, bringing a piece of French history and the architectural marvel into classrooms far from Paris. Children learn about the tower not just as a structure, but as a symbol of what humans can achieve when they dare to dream big. As we wrap up our journey with the Eiffel Tower, we've seen how this iron colossus went from being a controversial project to a beloved global icon. It's a tale of vision, innovation, and the enduring human spirit. The Eiffel Tower is not just a landmark, it's a testament to what we can achieve when we dare to dream big. But what about you? What does the Eiffel Tower symbolize in your eyes? Have you ever visited, or do you dream of seeing it one day? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And if you're hungry for more stories of architectural marvels and the secrets behind them, you won't want to miss out on our other videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. There's a whole world of fascinating structures with stories just waiting to be told. So stay tuned and let's continue to explore the wonders of architecture together.